Nature is often cruel, but even in its most primal moments, a spark of connection can defy death. What you are about to see shouldn't have happened. The Luangwa River, a torrent cutting through the Zambian savanna, is both a lifeline and a grim reaper. That morning, a pride of lions was moving along the sandy bank to avoid the searing heat. The cub, named Keto, was clumsier and more curious than its siblings. In a momentary lapse of attention, a slip on the slick, moist bank turned a routine walk into a catastrophe. Keto tumbled. The swift current quickly dragged him away. Keto's weak cries for help were swallowed by the river's roar. The pride stood on the bank, confused and terrified. The mother, Nala, roared frantically, her fear spreading through the group. They were kings on land, but the deep water was an innate terror. They could effortlessly tear apart a buffalo, yet they were helpless against the water pulling their cub away. The agony of powerlessness descended. The pride's strength meant nothing against the current. Keto was only a tiny speck, bobbing precariously amidst the savage waves. Hit that like button if you've ever felt that gut-wrenching fear watching a loved one in difficulty. But just when hope seemed to be washed away, the script of the wild was about to be rewritten by a colossal shadow from the deep forest. In the animal kingdom, fear is a survival tool. But sometimes a deeper instinct, a primal call to service, overrides even the most fundamental fears. A distance away, hidden in the dense canopy, a colossal silverback gorilla was listening. His name was Coco. With his broad shoulders and rippling muscles, Coco was the embodiment of silent strength. Distinct from the lion's aggression, Coco lived by the quiet wisdom of the old forest. Coco paid no mind to the angry roars of the lioness Nala, but the specific, tiny cry of Keto, a distinct wail of a creature in distress, pierced every biological barrier. Coco's instinct, built on protecting his family and group, suddenly extended. Why would a gentle herbivore risk his life for a species that would one day hunt him? This is the ethical paradox of nature. It questions the boundaries of coexistence and compassion. Coco slowly stepped out of the shadows. He stared at the torrent, then at the tense lions on the bank. The moment he observed was full of contemplation, as if weighing the magnitude of the decision. Every rule of the food chain was shattered. Coco was drawn by something that transcended mere survival. Scientists have documented the phenomenon of atypical altruism in primates. This behavior goes beyond simple survival logic, showing that some high-level social mammals exhibit complex empathy for non-kin. Coco approached the water's edge. The lions watched him with a look containing confusion, fear, and a tiny, fragile spark of hope. They didn't attack, perhaps due to their absolute focus on Keto, or perhaps they had recognized an unlikely ally. Think of the last time you helped a complete stranger. Share your story in the comments. It truly matters. It wasn't a roar or a threat that moved him. It was a whimper. And in the very next heartbeat, Coco shattered every rule of the wild. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the commitment to an action even when your body screams no. For a land-bound species, launching into this river was an act of pure faith. Coco plunged into the water, creating a massive splash. As a heavy creature of the land, he was not born to swim, but he swam with the strength of sheer will. The Luangwa River became a villain, fast, swirling, and cold. Coco struggled, using his immense muscles to fight the waves, navigating dangerous depths. The distance between Coco and Keto seemed endless. On the bank, the lions were watching, their bodies rigid with anxiety. Their fear of water was now secondary to parental anguish, and Coco was compounding that suffering with his exhausting effort. This is relentless determination, physical sacrifice in pursuit of a purpose entirely unrelated to personal survival. After moments of extreme tension, Coco finally reached him. He carefully used one powerful arm to hoist Keto onto his back, securing the cub in a position that minimized contact with the swift current. This position, though uncomfortable, was safer. Keto, completely exhausted and trembling, clung to the gorilla's wet fur like a last lifeline. The tension was at an all-time October 10th. Coco was not just swimming. He was overcoming three serious risks. The risk of drowning by being submerged by the torrent, exhaustion from swimming with a massive body mass, and the risk of Keto falling off his back. Every stroke was a strategic calculation. Each arm pull brought them closer to the bank. The current seemed to try and drag them back, but Coco's resolve was unwavering. If you're on the edge of your seat, let us know what part of this journey you're most worried about. The flow slowed, but the tension didn't. The true test of trust was about to happen. A direct encounter between two species in their most vulnerable moment. In crisis, there are no titles, only creatures. The strongest act of trust is dropping one's guard when survival is at stake. Coco neared the bank, utterly exhausted. This was his most vulnerable moment. Nala the lioness and the other members were no longer anxious spectators. They were now a potential threat. Coco was delivering prey straight into the predator's territory. But Keto, the lion cub, exhibited absolute trust. He clung tight, neither struggling nor attempting to bite. His life depended on this creature, and Keto had fully committed. Then the magic happened. Coco and Nala locked eyes, a moment of profound, extended silence. Nala saw the gorilla's exhaustion. She saw the purity of his action. Her instinct to attack was paralyzed by unspeakable gratitude. The two creatures, rescuer and the saved, regarded each other with mutual respect and a shared understanding of one singular purpose: Keto's life. This climax is about sacred trust and vulnerability. The fear that should have reigned, lion versus gorilla, was replaced by mutual respect. The exhausted gorilla and the trusting cub were one entity, grounded in pure, unadulterated. This is where we must pause. Forget the food chain. This moment proves that empathy is not a learned human trait. It is a universal force that bridges all biological boundaries. A debt of life was established here, a silent, powerful covenant. Coco was risking everything for a life he didn't know. That is nature's greatest lesson. Coco finally touched the bank. His mission was complete. What do you think the mother lion was thinking in this exact moment? Give us your best answer in the comments. The silent standoff broke the moment Coco's feet found solid ground. The danger was over, but the miracle was just beginning to unfold. The world needs more moments like this. The final act of gallantry is simply to step back and allow the connection to happen. Watch the exchange. Coco, with surprising gentleness, nudged Keto off his back with his nose. The cub stumbled, then ran straight into the protective embrace of his mother and her pride. The lions showed no signs of aggression, only silent relief. The mother lion Nala gently licked her cub, then raised her head to look at Coco. It wasn't a roar of thanks, nor was it a bow. It was a long, deep gaze, full of recognition. Gorilla and lion looked at each other, and in that look, all differences of species dissolved. Coco had given her cub's life back. After ensuring Keto was safe within the pride circle, Coco slowly retreated. He sought no reward. He didn't linger for praise. He only looked back once at the sight of the reunited lion family, then turned and walked away, merging back into the quiet, green forest that birthed him. This image, Keto safe with his mother, Coco disappearing into the forest, became the symbol of love across boundaries. It is irrefutable evidence of the inherent goodness and connection in nature. It is the final emotional payoff, reinforcing the belief that help can come from the most unexpected places, that the instinct to save is sometimes stronger than the instinct to hunt. Coco sought no reward. He didn't wait for praise. He simply returned to the silent green world that bore him. But his action resonated far beyond this riverbank. This story of courage and trust is not an exception. It is a reminder that we are more connected than we think. If this incredible story of connection gave you hope, you need to see the time a wolf adopted a fawn. Click the video on your screen now. It's the perfect sequel to The Wild Heart. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that restore your faith in the wild and in yourself.